Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a high-stress, quick-fix world. There's no denying it. There's no getting around it. That's the way it is. You know the drill. Give me a pill, I'm stressed. Give me a pill so I can lose weight. Give me a pill so I can sleep. Then give me a pill so I can wake up. We want instant comfort and gratification, which at times provides us with temporary relief. Then what? Then what happens? Quick fixes rarely work. Now, how do we get to the root cause of stress? How does our brain react? Why do we not know this? We're going to find out today. My guest today is Dr. Annika Sorensen. Dr. Sorensen is an author. She's a medical doctor. She's a stress management mentor. She's an international speaker on topics revolving around success brought by less stress, including financial and business success. Now, she specializes in health and stress strategies. She has a solid background in the Swedish public care for 30 years. This woman is an expert in this area. She's been a guest on ABC, My Network TV, Fox, a two-time TEDx speaker. She's officially certified by the Big Talk Academy and an author of two, not one, two top-rated stress management books. One is Take Stress from Chaos to Calm, and the second is My De-Stress Diary. Now today, she's busy helping business leaders find calm, feel less stress, and get more done with greater success. Dr. Sorensen, welcome to Energy Healing and Integrated Wellness.
Thank you very much. Very nice presentation.
Well, thank you. You're very impressive. Now, you and I spoke a few weeks ago, and I've read many of your stuff. And what, as a medical, you're a medical doctor. What led you to focus so much on stress?
Well, let's really, it's a long story, or I just
feel free.
Make it the shorter version, because I realized it further on in my life. But when I went back, I saw where it all came from, and that was when I was 34 years old. I was going to get my medical exam. And I was supposed to bloom and to save the world, to be the good one, getting out there. But I was put in the worst stress test that you could ever think of. Because right there, when I took my exam, I first lost my brother. He was 31 and he had a mental illness, and he had been ill for some years, and he committed suicide.
Oh my God.
And 1 week later, we lost our first baby. She was only 10 weeks old, and she had a very severe genetic illness that we didn't know of before she was born. So within 1 week, I lost two of my really close people in my life. And I just went down to a black hole, and I just wanted to stay there. And I would actually, my story could have easily ended right there.
Right there.
So it was tough. And I had friends and family, and they tried to help me. And at first I didn't really listen, but then when they started talking to me, don't become a victim, that's when something old in me awoke, because I was not a victim. I had never been a victim in my life. That was not me. So that's when I started to climb up and realized that I had to take care of myself. I couldn't just sit there and wait for, the darkness to come, or whatever it was. So I started to take care of myself, and I did not use any medication. I had no, things to help me. It was just taking good care of myself with the help of my friends. And that's when I realized that we have everything within ourselves. And then I went on working as a doctor, and I think it formed me. So I guess I was a fairly good doctor with this background, understanding people. And then we got 3 more kids today, healthy grown-up girls that are now entering the world in a big sense. And those years when they were younger and having 3 small kids and a full-time job as a doctor, that was kind of stressful.
I would imagine.
Yeah. And so even if I had, wide limits on what I could take, there was this limit. So I started I joined the course in stress management to help myself, to save myself. And that's when I realized, that was about 10 years ago, that's when I realized that this is what it's all about. This is what I should, could, can teach my patients or people around me. And also that we still don't need all those things because everyone was trying to sell me, you can take this method or buy this pill or buy this whatever gadget. And I never did because I don't believe in them.
Right. There's always somebody with a course or a plan
absolutely.
or a program.
And just do this one thing and it will be all good. And I have tried this one thing several times and it, feel good for an hour or 2 or a day or 2 or a week maybe, but it doesn't really take you off the problem.
Exactly. And when we
so
spoke,
that's where I ended up. But in the healthcare clinic, we work with illness. As a doctor, you work with illness. You don't work with health in a sense. So there is no time to do this helping work for the patients.
Right.
You are supposed to prescribe a pill or whatever. And of course I do, because there are things you need to have the pills for, but not for the general not well-being.
Now, when we spoke, you had said, when you started doing this research, you were shocked at how far back this history goes. What did you find in the connection between the brain and the stress as you were doing all this research?
I found, or science has figured out, that we were made the human beings we are today, so to speak, about 200,000 years ago, give or take. There's no specific date for that. So somewhere at that time, we were formed from the previous version of what we were to the ones that we are today. And the society or the environment at that time, that was the savanna, the caves, it was the animals hunting you or you hunted them. It was eat or be eaten. That was the deal. So we were given 3 main things to handle that stuff with. And that was to be very good at fighting, to be very good at running away, fleeing, and also to play dead, as if they wouldn't notice us. So those 3 things were the tools that our brain, the system figured so that we could use immediately, like this. When you see the lion right there, you have to act now, or you become their dinner.
Right.
And the science or the evolution was also so clever that it combined these 3 ways of action with it made a connection with our ability to move, the muscles. We are moving and we are doing things. And it was smart. Don't ask me how, because I have no clue. It was smart of them because they made a connection between to think the best way to move your body when you were in that situation, so that you knew how to fight immediately. You knew how to run or find the best way where to run. So there is a connection today with movement of the body and thinking, so that we get our thoughts lined up in a better way to really act as in the best way in the moment. And we still have exactly those tools with us today. We have no other real tools. Those are the same, but the environment today is kind of different.
We don't run into too many lions right now.
Not too many lions, but we have all these bosses or people telling us that we have to do whatever you should do more, you should do this, you should do that. And haven't you done that? Aren't you ready yet? All those things that comes from the outside. And those are the stress moments of today. And it's not okay to give your boss a punch in the face or to run away from them, which is the normal instinct for us. It still is.
Right.
Or fall down to the floor and pretend that you're
dead.
It doesn't really work. And that's where the stress system comes in, because we don't use the stress hormones that are produced in these situations. On the savannah, they were kind of used up during your running or fighting.
Right.
And then when you were safe, you could rest again. And the hormones went down. Now you live a life with not normal levels of stress hormones. You live it with higher and higher and higher. And the higher they are, the higher the risk for other things.
Now, something you said when we spoke, and you just said it again, is a couple of the methods are movement, which may be exercise, right, and rest. And we don't see, we seem to have lost that.
Yeah, and those are tools. I mean, people buy tools, gadgets, stuff, and we have them with us
all the time.
They're all free, and they're all there all the time. You can use them. What's up?
Just get it done. I've seen. I have an exercise machine upstairs, which I go to every morning, and that's the part of the stress release in the morning is to spend 30-40 minutes. And then it's amazing how much all the stress level goes down. I think if a lion was chasing you back in the savannah, the stress level was off the charts, but there was that, okay, I survived. Is that pretty much what it is? Is we have to get through the stress point to that survival point where we can relax again?
Kind of, yes. And we know that when you do physical activity, the stress hormones that we have, they are used as energy. They are kind of used up. So they're if you don't go back and get another fight or get another people telling you that you have to do whatever again, then you are getting down to the bottom level or to the normal level, because stress hormones, they are normal. We have to have stress hormones. Otherwise, we wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. We have to have that to keep us going on the basic level. But we don't want them to be up there all the time.
Exactly.
The more they are up there, when you have specifically cortisol, which is affects us in many different ways. It also affects the cardiovascular system. It affects those things that make you get heart attacks or strokes, or real stuff. Stress is said to be the silent killer, because it kind of eats you from the inside if you keep having it all the time.
Right. Wow. And when we spoke, you mentioned you said there's short-term and there's long-term stress. Can you elaborate on the difference?
Yeah, it's I figured when I was doing my research on how to deal with this in a more organized way, I realized that there are two problems that we have to face. And one is that you have stress coming up, knocking, knock, 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 right now. And you have to do something right there. And that's in the moment. In the stress moment, you have to do something. And before, you ran away or you fought the animals. So we have to do something else. And what we do now is to take a deep breath. We have to get down in the now. Take a deep breath, or a couple of them. You can jump up and down, walk around your desk, move a little. And the third one that I usually use as a simple one is to take what I call a mini meditation, where you can close your eyes. You don't have to. Some people feel uncomfortable, but you repeat a nice word slowly to yourself. And I learned the word release. So I use release, like release, release, release. And we can only have one thought in our head at the same time. So it better be a good one. And if you keep saying release to yourself, or concentrate on the moving around, or concentrate on the breathing, your problem will kind of go a little bit away, and you will think clearer. So you can care for it. So that's the short-term stress management tools that you need. Come back into the now and make the problem a little less dangerous, so you can care for it in a better way. But stress will always come back and come back and come back and come back. So to make those situations when it knocks on you much fewer times, because that's what you can do. You can't get rid of them. I said, stress is part of, that's basic biology. And so the long-term stress management we need to do is to do changes in our life so that these knockings come more seldom. Because that's the only thing you can do. There will be things knocking on your door, whatever, sometime in your life. I mean, someone dies in your family, you get someone gets hurt, whatever. Those are just the bad things, but if there might be small things.
Right.
Someone says something that hurts you, and that will start the same system, because that's what we have to work with. So to get those things to come less often, we have to care for our lives. Some people even have to get a new job to get out of a situation where they don't feel it's okay. They need to take friends away from their community because those friends are eating your energy all the time.
Right.
There are different things, and they are different for each person. I mean, you and I don't have the same problems, even if it looks on the surface as if it's might be close to the same problem. We are still living in our own area, so it is different for each person. So you have to figure out, what do I need to change? How can I do that? And if you start doing changes in your life for your good, then other good things will usually follow, because then you get in some kind of a mood of, or good things will follow good things.
That's right. We spoke with Ira Moon, who was very much into energy and was at a very low point in her life like that. And she said, I think I had to regain control. Regaining control meant moving away, leaving the toxic environment, and then putting good ideas and good intentions and good thoughts out. And she
Yeah.
said, and then that the more good you put out, the more good comes back to you. Is that what you found?
Yeah, it is. It's what you focus on is what you get. So if you only focus on bad things or what you don't want, you're still gonna see just what you don't want, because that's what you focus on. You need to focus on what I want from life, because then there is no room for the things that you don't want, more or less. I mean, it sounds very simple, and but it's a lifelong work. You have to do this until you die, because you have this system until you die.
Exactly.
So you better start now and make your surrounding the best for you, what you want now, and then go for things that you want in the future, and then you will have your best life. And there will be sorrows, there will be things coming back, they will always come. And then you have the breathing, and you have the jumping around the desk, or the mini meditation, or getting back in and out.
Right. I talked with a Dr. Dina Samuel, and she called it a 10-second vacation with the breathing.
Yeah, I'll steal that.
Good, use it. You breathe in for like 4 seconds or 6 seconds and breathe out for 10. And we did a workshop together, and she was doing that. I don't know how many people were in the audience, but you could just sense the mood just calming, just that simple breathing, a little 10-second vacation.
And when you do that, when you do the breathing, do deep breathing, when you breathe out, your shoulders will go down, and that will lessen the tension in your neck, in your head,
Right.
And it feels so good. And it only takes like 2 or 3 or 4 breaths to get really a bit more grounded.
Yes.
And so you have to come back in the now. This is where I am, and that's where you can see what's been has been. What's in the future hasn't been there yet. And of all the things that you think will happen, very few will happen.
Exactly. The things we worry about rarely occur. That's amazing. And you mentioned, I hope I get his name right here, Brandon Bouchard. Did I pronounce his
Brandon
name?
Bouchard. Yeah.
Brandon Bouchard. And he had such an impact on you. Tell us what that impact was.
He was, I still follow him a little, but it's not that big in my life now. But he was one of the first, so to speak, gurus that were talking about self-development, and both business but you have to kind of work on yourself too. And I came from the Swedish healthcare system. It's a tax-paid system. You have all the patients that you want. There are a never-ending line of those. You never talk about what the costs are, because the doctor don't deal with that. It's the tax paid, and the patients and all that is behind you, and you get your salary, and you just do the work. So that's where I came from. So when I started to become a business person, that was a big. I was so much in my head with all the scientific, and I'm still working totally within my license and all that. But I was so much just thinking, never feeling, just thinking. And he got me to understand that there is more to it on these things. And he was the one that taught me this mini meditation. And I think that's brilliant. So he made a big impact on me, on what is important and how to do it, and also how to build your business in a good way. So I've taken a lot from the courses that I've taken from him.
Wow.
And it's it's kind of nice to have to look back and see that, yeah, he did so many good things that I can use.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that there's people that are out there and they're willing to help once we finally realize we need help.
Yeah,
and I saw that
everyone needs help. You need to have some kind of mentor or coach or something. I would say that every business needs to have someone where they can go and get information, help, someone to see what's going on.
Right. Exactly.
Because we do get blind of our own field.
Right. It's also just for decompression, because I'll advise a number of businesses, and when we're focused on the business part,
yeah,
that's only part of the problem. Right?
That's only part of the problem. Yeah, and we are like we are also from 200,000 years ago, or as we are as human beings, we are sticking our head in the sand because we don't want to see our own failure. That's just how we are, all of us, and we don't want to see it. So when you stick your head in the sand, you kind of lose the overview, and you need someone from the outside to see, okay, now we're taking up your head again to see what's really there.
That's right. It's another thing you just mentioned with failure is I'm starting to see a movement now where in business where failure is not considered death anymore. Like when I was coming up, if it was a failure, you basically your career was ended, your life was over, you get out. Now it's okay, failure is not as negative. It's not a good thing, but it's also not a terrible thing. It's okay. It's a learning experience, but we monitor it and we discover it quickly. We discover this isn't going to work. And that's where a lot of that what you're talking about is looking deeper into it instead of just looking at the number. Okay, this isn't going to work. We can see it. Let's make an adjustment, as opposed to scrap it and throw it away and give that person that sense of loss of self-esteem. Are you seeing that more?
Yeah, I think you're true. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, absolutely. It's people are getting more aware of that we actually do have a head too, not just a body.
Exactly.
And that the figures or the numbers are not everything. It's a lot about who we are and how we represent it as people.
Right. And then bringing that, it's a collaboration model again, which helps lower the stress, because
absolutely. We are herd animals. We need to have other people around ourselves. We need to feel not alone, because when you are feeling alone, that's a very tough stress situation.
Right.
And you would think it would be a good thing to be alone because no one is telling you to do anything, but it's not. All the stress system is out there. Also because of 200,000 years ago, because we were meant to be herd animals and we helped each other. And if you were alone back then, 200,000 years ago, you were that was a death sentence. You couldn't take it because you had to be alert all the time. You could not sleep. You could not do anything because you had to do the watch. And if you were in the herd, there was someone else doing the watching when you were sleeping. So we need each other. So being alone, feeling lonely is a very tough stress situation.
That's right. That's incredible.
And so as we talk now, I hope people see it's clear that everything connects. I mean, we can discuss this from all angles, and we're gonna come back to those 200,000 years ago, because that's how we are, and it still affects us, whatever we do.
That's how we're wired.
Exactly.
Before we went on the air, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned Dr. Sorensen. I was talking to an MD doctor here in California about this interview with her, and this doctor said to me, Frank, we've known this forever. We've known this connection forever, yet we still have this difficulty addressing it.
Yes, society is moving too fast, and we are in a new environment from what we are born to. And it's somewhere along the line we lost it. And now it goes so fast. And we also have all these, the advertisers, they know a lot about how we function, and they spin on that so that they want us to buy more things or to do more or whatever, and to eat more and to take more of whatever it is, because they know that will trigger those automatic processes that we have from back then.
Exactly.
That is not serving us today. So we have to find ways to kind of get against it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard. Because we are herd animals and we want to be like the others. And if you see teenagers, they want to be exactly like the others. And if one has a very expensive something, then everyone else wants to have the same expensive something. So it is complicated. It's complicated to be a human being.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Well, this has been intriguing. Dr. Sorensen, how can people reach you?
I think the best or easiest way is to go to my website, askdrannika.com, askdrannika.com, because there is on the top bar, you have this contact page. You can click and reach me from there. I think that's the easiest way.
That's the easiest. Well, we're just about out of time. What last thoughts do you want to leave with the viewers around the world today?
The last thought, okay, be in the now. That is all that counts. The past has already been. It's nothing you can do about it. The future, it hasn't come yet. And whatever you think, only parts of it will happen. Mm-hmm. So you better not dig into too much to that. Stay where you are in the now and take those deeper breaths, because that's where you can get control over your situation and see the possibilities. I think that's the best.
That's perfect. Well, as I said, folks, we're just about out of time. I want to thank Dr. Sorensen again for this amazing story of transformation of what she personally went through to find herself being in the now, as she's been telling us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what life throws at you, and you heard a lot of stuff thrown at Dr. Sorensen here today, do three things. Look up, get up, and never, ever give up. Pick up the pieces, start moving forward, and better times and better people like Dr. Sorensen will come into your life. If you want to know more about Dr. Sorensen, she gave you her website. You can contact me, and I will make sure it gets to her. Now, you can see this show on ROKU TV or on my YouTube channel, Frank Zaccari. And if you go to YouTube, please subscribe. Let me leave you with this, as I do every week, ladies and gentlemen. The secret to walking on water is to know where the rocks are. And today, Dr. Sorensen showed us where many, many of those rocks are. Join us again next week. We look into another life-altering event. Thank you again, Dr. Sorensen.
Thank you.